Oh,
Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you have had a good afternoon. Welcome to our next phase of the discussion on careers in IT. Today, we privilege to have professionals from different fields who are with us to discuss about cybersecurity and the opportunities in the area of cyber. We wish to thank all of those who have joined us for this session. Our recorded version is available on YouTube, but you can also follow through. Should you wish to ask questions, you can also type the questions on our channel or on YouTube so that we are able to answer them at the end of the session. I'll wish to take this time to introduce the people who are with us here today. We have Patricia. Patricia works with Safaricom. She's the manager in charge of cybersecurity. Eric is with here. Eric is the CEO of Zalego Academy. He'll be talking to us about the opportunities available in the job market. What are they looking at when they are employing students and the skills you require to fit in the job market. He's also promised me he'll have some internships for those who have been asking me where are internships. He'll be able to give us those internships. Again, here we have Gertrude Njeri. Gertrude Njeri is one of our co-moderators. Gertrude Njeri is the incoming vice chairperson of Chuka University Alumni Association. She also has experience in hospitality and a good moderator. She'll be here to moderate the next part of the session. And finally, we have our Dr. Leah. Leah, we call her doctor because she's the most learned in this platform. Leah is a lecturer in computing and IT at Technical University of Kenya. We also wish to appreciate those who have participated in this discussion, starting with the Cybersecurity Club of Technical University of Kenya for just organizing this session, attending universities, University of Nairobi, Chuka University, I know they are following us. We have Technical University of Kenya, Egerton University, we have Multimedia University, we have, who am I forgotten? Dedan Kimathi University, and any other university that is following us. This is a part of Maseno universities here. I forgot to mention them. Jomo Kenyatta are here. This is part of the sessions we have been holding to be able to bring professionals from different fields to share their knowledge, their experience, their expertise. We are doing it during this lunchtime under what we call the corporate career responsibility. We have taken it upon ourselves to ensure that where you are as a young professional, as a student, we are able to give you the knowledge you require so that you don't take the longest time we took in the industry. So without much ado, I'll wish to take this time to introduce Mr. Eric. Mr. Eric will be able to introduce himself with the few titles I've left out. Then he takes us through the discussion. Mr. Eric, you are welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you everyone for inviting me to this amazing platform to do what we love doing, and that is empowering the youth and giving them the right path that they need to follow to be able to be successful in their careers. So my name is Eric Mutuku, director, founder of Zalego Academy, which is, we call it a research, training, and placement center. Here we do a lot of research on the trends in the industry. We also do a lot of training to equip the young people with the technology and skills required for the job market. And then also we help with placing successful candidates to various companies and also placing them also within our own company. As you see on the screen, through this process, we've partnered with a couple of universities where we have official partnerships. That is Jomo Kenyatta University, University of Embu, Laikipia, and lately we partnered with Kabrak University. And this is just to see how we can be able to help the students who are learning there to have access to attachments, internships, and also training that is relevant to the industry. When we look at this next slide, we've also partnered with a couple of companies. These are companies that also employ our students who go through our training platform. Now, as we go to the next slide, my part here is just to handle a key pressing issue that we face in the industry, and that is not getting the right fit candidate for the jobs that we advertise for. So like I'd mentioned, we are a software development and training, we are a capacity building and placement center doing research and recruitment. And our goal basically is to be able to build an ecosystem where we improve the rate of unemployment in the country, and also we ensure that there is a close linkage between institutions and also industries. On the next slide, we'll be looking at where the issues are. Why is it that we don't get a lot of qualified people in the industry? So currently we know, of course, there's a very high rate of unemployment for graduates, which is growing day by day. There's also a very low rate of innovations realized here in the country. And also there's a very slow rate of growth of ICT companies in the country. The low rate of innovation is, of course, when you don't have the right skills or you don't have skills that are sufficient enough for you to innovate, then there's nothing to actually innovate. And even if you had an idea or a good innovation, if you do not have the right skills, then there's nothing actually to innovate. Now, if again we get candidates who are not qualified into most of the IT companies and yet they cannot deliver, then what happens is then also the companies are not able to deliver and they're not able to create solutions and even come up with innovations that they can sell to the industry. So therefore, that leads to a very slow growth of ICT companies. And from our research, when we looked at some of these causes of the above problems, is one what we call skill gap. And basically what this means is it's the gap between what we study and what the industry is looking for. And one of the solutions we always advocate for this is continuous engagement between the academia and the industry. A good example is this session that we're having today. And good job to the team that has been able to put this together, because that is one of the steps of ensuring that we solve the issue of unemployment, where we have a lot of people from the industry speaking about what is required and the academia taking notes and shaping themselves according to the requirements. And therefore, we realize that the gap will keep on narrowing down. The other issue is what we call lack of specialization. And this basically is now to the students. From my experience, most of the students are really all over with every type of skill that they can learn on. You find a student trying everything that they can learn their hands on. They are web developers, they say they are hardware managers, they also say they are social media marketers. And so what we realize is part of the reasons why most students are not specializing is because they think that when they touch each and every skill required, then they'll be easily acceptable to the job market. And that is not the case. The moment you're all over with everything, you know, you are a web developer, you are a mobile developer, you are a designer, you are a data scientist, you are a Linux developer. The moment you're all over with all these skills, you'll barely be able to specialize on one of them. And therefore, what will happen is you'll end up spreading yourself too thin. And so you do not have one skill that you can talk about or you can say that you're really good at. And so that poses challenge. And so what we encourage is it's very important for students to pick a skill that resonates with us, their strength, and really dig deeper and specialize more on that particular skill, then later start broadening to other relevant skills that are related to your primary core skill. And of course, again, there's a lack of mentorship. For the 4 years you're in campus, you have no one to talk to you, no one to look up to. And therefore, what you're doing, you're just doing everything blindly. The attachment program that most of you students go to is actually supposed to really sort this part of mentorship, but it has not been actively practiced. And also we feel that lack of proper mentorship is also leading to a lot of graduates really not knowing which direction to take, what to do, and therefore they end up being not have a place to fall into. And then we have the outdated curriculums. We all know technology nowadays is changing very fast. And therefore, have what we call an up-to-date curriculum, access to up-to-date curriculum. And this, since it's a very, it's not something that can be sorted overnight. This is, it's a very long task for most institutions. And therefore, for students, the task is on you to really find out how you can always keep yourself up to date with the trending technology and what is happening out in the market. Then we have the industry gap, which I talked about. That is the gap between the industry and academia, where we've always had the industry minding their own business, academia minding their own business. And therefore, the kind of graduates that we get are really not relevant for the industry. And thank God we are seeing this changing in the various universities. And then we have the wrong choice of course. If most of you look at how you ended up in the course that you're in, some of you ended up in the courses they're doing simply because of, you know, my parents said so, cluster points, I didn't have another option, it has a lot of market, a lot of money. And so some of these reasons why you ended up taking IT or BBIT or any IT related course might not have been the core reason. And the core reason why you always need to take a course is it resonates with your talent and your skill and your strength. And so this has not been the case. And therefore, this has led to graduates who are not really, who have taken a course that they really didn't like and a course that really didn't resonate with their strength. So let's look at the next slide. So what are part of the solutions that we always recommend to most of the students who are in campus right now, despite the decision you made, is number one, it's very important to know who you are and what your strengths are. And this is, you're able to know this by units that are able to resonate with you. You'll find that, for example, if you find something like calculus and algebra, these are units that you're really struggling with, and those are numbers, then that's something that tells you that a course like data science, you might not want to really look at such course, because in the future, these are courses that requires a lot of numbers to work with. And for you to be good, a good data scientist, you have to be really good with numbers. So we always recommend that as you go through your program, get to really know yourself very well, find where your strength is, and start working with your strength and on your strength. The other thing that we recommend is, instead of being all over, once you find maybe I'm really a good programmer, or I'm a good designer, or I'm good at managing tasks, maybe I'm a good tester. Once you find what resonates with you, we recommend that you specialize on that. Specialize on that area that works with your strength. Now, the reason why this is important is for you to understand that we live in a very competitive world now. The IT world is very competitive. And this is not the IT world you want to face with only papers and grades. This is the world that you want to face with talent and skill. And what I mean by talent and skill is you need to be able to work with what is easy for you, something that you don't struggle doing, something that you find easy with, something that you're natural at, not something that you struggle with. And the moment you do something that you're natural at, you realize your career trajectory will grow very fast, and you will progress very fast. But the moment you find whatever you're doing, it's something you struggle with, some concepts are really hard to really grasp, then you realize also the same will apply with your career growth. It will affect how fast you grow in your career. Now, once you find this place that you're good at, start specializing. And as you specialize, start building your own portfolio. Portfolio means build something that you can say that this is what I've built. I'm a web developer and this is what I've been able to build. I'm an Android programmer. This is what I have done. I'm a cybersecurity expert. This is what I achieved. Start to build portfolio. And when do you build these portfolios? This is during your attachment periods. This is during your long holidays. This is the time to experiment. This is the time to take a class. This is the time to practice whatever you've learned or whatever you want to be. Go the extra mile and start building things. Nowadays in interview, we rarely, for those who will ever meet me when you come for interviews, you'll realize I'll not even ask for your papers. I'll not even bother about your papers. The first thing I'll tell you is open your laptop, show me what you've done. And the entire interview will be around whatever you've done. And that is what is able to tell me more about your capability and what you can do. So building a portfolio is very key, and you need to be able to spare time that you can use to build products and build yourself along the areas of your strength and talent. Then as you do that, it's also important to constantly research out there and find out what trends is technology taking and how can I align my strengths with the trends that are there in the market. Because with technology, trends will keep on changing. So it's good to always see how to position yourself and align yourself with the trends in the market. And then as you do that again, keep researching more around the area of your research, around the area of your study, around the area of your skill. Research more and know what's the future technology, how is it going to look like, and how can I position myself around that. So these are some of the things, very simple things that we really recommend for students to look at. And with that, you'll find your interviews will be very easy. You'll not be struggling or panicking during an interview session. Now, then we look at the next slide. So the next slide is just to simply mention the career opportunities that are out there, that are really marketable, and that you need also to look at. Now, when you're looking at these career opportunities, do not look at the aspect of it has a lot of money. That has always been the survival way of looking at things in the past. But now we need to look at these career opportunities in another perspective. And that is, what am I good at? What is this thing that I really do that I don't struggle with? And where does it fall in my list? Then you start positioning yourself with that. I could not have covered all the list. You could be good at something that I've not covered here. But I still insist that we all need to focus on the things that we are good at, the things that we are talented in. These are gifts that God has given to us that we need to utilize. And you realize the more you work with your strength, with your talent, the less you struggle in terms of progression. So that is always the gospel that I preach all the time. Now, looking at the career opportunities out there, there is also one which is programming. And when you look at programming, we're looking at you can be a mobile programmer, either programming in Android, Kotlin, or Flutter. You could be a Java programmer, but we also recommend mostly look at online programming, Java for online programming. You could be a web programmer, and a web programming, we always advocate that you look at PHP strongly and then transition to frameworks, the Laravel, which is quite useful. That's a framework that is used by most companies. That's something you can look at. And then we have the database. When it comes to database, you can start with understanding MySQL database, and then Mongo database, and then gradually graduate as you look at also Oracle database. And for programmers, for you to know that this is your area, most programmers are always logical thinkers. These are guys who work with logic. And under programming, there are different languages. It's very easy to find out which one you resonate with based on your course in school. You'll find some programmers resonate well with C, others will not resonate with C, will resonate better with Java, Others will find scripting to be easier as opposed to actual programming. So these are things, these are the things you need to identify very early while you're in university, and to be able to put aside whatever does not resonate with you. Forget about it. Don't push yourself. Just focus on your strength. Then we have the data scientists. The data scientists are more of numbers people, analytical people. And therefore, how to know if data science is your area of strength or it's an area you need to focus on? You need to ask yourself a simple question. Do I love mathematics? Do I love calculations? If you don't, just pick another one. Web developers. Web developers who are graphical people make very good web design and development persons. So if you're looking into the career of web developer and you want to be this person who stands out in the market as a web developer, then when you have a graphical design, artistic skills or artistic inbuilt in you, then you make a very good web developer. Same with product designers. Product designers, these are people who focus more on the flow of a software and the look and feel of a software. And artistic people and graphical designers make very good product designers. Then we have quality assurance. These are software testers. Analytical and logical people will make very good quality assurance persons. Then we have another skill that is called cloud computing. Cloud computing basically is being able to handle servers online. And on this area, you need to look at things like Azure and AWS. These are the most commonly used cloud computing platforms. You need to be able to know how to upload softwares, then manage softwares and configure softwares online. Then we have hardware maintenance. Most people in hardware, these are people who are able to set up server infrastructure from scratch, install softwares, and understand the whole hardware infrastructure. Then we have social media experts. To be a social media expert, if you're a good content writer, someone who can really write stories or narrate stories very nicely, they make very good social media experts. Then we have cybersecurity experts. These are more of investigative people, analytical, and a bit of logical people as well. And these are people who can be able to think 10 steps ahead of something or an event. And so besides being excited about cybersecurity, you need to ask yourself, am I that kind of person? Then we have the project managers, who are mostly team leaders and people who can actually manage teams very easily, and people's persons. So I've just listed a few of the career opportunities that are available out there. And when you go to a website today, you can look at job opportunities that are available there. And you can read more on the job descriptions of the job opportunities that we've listed there. And it will keep on telling you more on each and every job category that we've listed, and the kind of person that we always look in each and every job category that we've listed. And that will give you an idea of where you can easily fall into. Remember, get a career based on your strength and talent, but don't get into a career because it has money. So as I wind up, we're going to look at the next slide. So kindly we can go to the next slide. Yes, thank you. So as I wind up, I want to mention that we at Zalego Academy provide attachment and internship and job opportunities, and we focus heavily on university graduates. And this is the reason why we are still partnering with a lot of universities, because through this process of providing attachment, internship, and job placements, we are able to collect data and know the pain points that are in universities and with students, and why we are not having a lot of students get into the job market. If you go to our website, you realize we have a lot of job opportunities that we started advertising starting January this year. Now, we've been extending those job opportunities by month, every month. And this is because we are still not getting the people that we are looking for, but we are still not giving up because we believe we have still a lot of talent out there. And so the job opportunities are still open to you guys. Please go to our website and apply for those jobs. Go to our website, apply for attachments and internships. You will enjoy our process of attachment and internship here. The process that will take you through. You'd love it, and our goal is to be able to empower you. If you feel that you're not fit for either of those, you can also take a course with us that will help you to have the skills that are required, and then after that you can apply a job with us. On the attachment process, normally you go and apply online, then we'll schedule you for an interview. We usually look at your applications, then we call you for interview. If you pass, we get you for attachment for 3 months. And then after attachment, if say you've finished school, we usually graduate you to internship. If you've qualified the attachment, our internship is for 6 months. And during the 6 months internship, you get paid, and we expose you to a lot more of content for you to learn and projects for you to learn. And after 6 months now, we graduate you to be part of our team. So Zalego works in partnership with a company called Stepwise. We are one. And together we are currently have a staff count of 787 students, 787 staff. And we're still looking for more because of the kind of things that we are doing and the projects and opportunities that are ahead of us. So feel free to apply. Feel free to get in touch with me through the email that I wrote. If you have any confusion or concerns or you need more assistance. Further still, when you go to our website, we have a system that is able to advise you on which areas you can focus on. So that will be my time for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric Mutuku, for that very insightful and enlightening session. I can see we have very good compliments coming in through our YouTube channel, as well as questions, which I'm sure will be addressed as we move along. But for now, I want to take this chance to welcome the next speaker, who is the Cybersecurity Incident Response Manager at Safaricom. This means that she works with a team of top professionals within the organization to ensure that cybersecurity incidents are responded to in the shortest time possible and that the impact of the organization is minimized. She's also the founding member at She Hacks KE, a community for women in cybersecurity. She's also a mentor, mentoring 2 ladies within the program. She loves cooking and reading novels as well as traveling. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Patricia JKUAT. Patricia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I am happy to be here. Eric, I really enjoyed your presentation. I think I can try to build up upon what you've spoken about and just tailor it towards cybersecurity, as this is a career talk. So I don't know if you have my slides, if you can project them, or I can do that.
Yes, please proceed.
Okay. I don't know if you're able to see my screen yet.
No, not yet. We only... Okay. Yes, now we are.
Okay. Sawa, I hope. Okay, there we go. Is it still visible?
I think we lost the slides. Yes, now they're back on.
Okay, so my presentation will be about cybersecurity, building mostly on what Eric has talked about today. So I will talk about I'd like to share my story, then I'll talk about the careers in cybersecurity, the domains in cybersecurity, and then from that information, you can try to extrapolate with what Eric has talked about to try and find your fit. Remember, you need to find something you're a natural at and something you enjoy. And then I shall talk about resources. I shall talk about the skills that you need to be in cybersecurity. Again, it will largely echo what Eric talked about with a focus on being a specialized person with a T personality, your skill, the shape of your skills should be a T. I'll dive into that. And then I'm the incident response manager. So I have a team of awesome professionals who we work together to ensure that if there are any cybersecurity incidents, we deal with them as fast as possible to minimize the impact to the organization. So in our section of cybersecurity, I sit within the operations team. So within the operations team, we have the Cyber Defense Center. So this is where we do our real-time monitoring of all our assets. So we have a view into all our assets, from laptops to our websites to all our servers, our network devices. So we look at we have alerts. So if there is a breach or any event that looks suspicious, it is forwarded to my team members. They get to investigate it. So you see, there's a skill that Eric mentioned, being analytical and investigative. It's a very important skill because most of the time an alert will come, you'll have to piece together pieces of information from different areas and to understand what it means first, and then what are the implications, and then figure out what to do next. I started my career in Safaricom as an intern. There's a program called Technology Academy. So they take students from the university and they are given a chance to intern for 3 months. So I interned at the cybersecurity department, and then I was able to join the organization once I completed my studies. My first job was a SOC analyst, so real-time monitoring of alerts, triaging the alerts, creating incidents, and following up. Currently, I'm the manager, so I work with the SOC analysts to just try and contain the incidents if there are any, and also improve our processes in the SOC. So domains in cybersecurity. So like IT and tech, cybersecurity is a very wide field. There are so many areas of specialization. There are so many things you can do in cybersecurity. There are some things that are math heavy and very technical, like cryptography. And there are some things that are not that much technical, like governance. So if you can see the slide, it's a mind map of cybersecurity. So from this slide, if you look at the yellow part, this is where I sit, the security operations. So the security operations is normally considered a blue team. So in security, we normally have like blue team and red team. The blue team is focused on defending the organization from the attackers, and the red team is focused on offensive. So they will try to test the security controls by hacking into the organizations so that they put in measures, they identify weak spots and put in measures to harden the security. So under security operations, there are so many roles you can take up. There is vulnerability management. There is SOC, which I mentioned where I started. There is SIM. So SIM is the security information and events management. So typically, this is a tool that the SOC analysts monitor the events from. So under SIM, you can be a content engineer. So a content engineer is the person who crafts the role. So SIMs ingest logs from systems, and then content engineers will create rules. So a rule defines how evil looks like. So if you want to know when a cross-site scripting happens on your database, on your website, you need to have a rule that is able to pick out from the logs that this is happening, then it will alert. And then we have guys who focus on prevention. So this will be the people who will be in charge of antivirus software, data leakage protection software, and a bunch of security software to protect the organization. Incident response is now my area of specialization. So we will, the main task, the main mission of an incident response person is to make sure that if there's an incident, you deal with it as fast as possible and make sure there's as little interruption as possible to the organization. So under incident response, there's the investigation bit, we have the forensic bit, network, application, as well as computer. We have the eradication. So a breach has happened. How do you eradicate the threat? Containment is just making sure that it does not spread further. Breach notification. In our data protection laws, there is the requirement to notify, in our case, Communications Authority and CBK, anytime there's a breach. We also have the DR team who are considered part of security operations. So as you can see, just one domain in security, which is security operations, has so many areas to venture in. There's the bit for user education. So these are the people who will do training for the organization, awareness. It's important to just train your people to know how to be safe in the internet, how to protect company data, how to make sure they are not exposing the company or the organization to malicious threat actors. In Safaricom, our threat intelligence team sits within security operations. So this is a very interesting role. The people who sit in threat intelligence, they get to go out into the internet, into the dark web, and find out what are hackers doing. So there's a new threat out there. This is how it looks like. So they will research it and put it in the context of our organization, and then they will give us feedback and say, there's this new threat, it looks like this, we can do 1, 2, 3 to mitigate, we can do 1, 2, 3 to detect when it happens, and then the SIM people craft rules for us to detect. Then there is the governance bit, which I mentioned. Yes, it's not technical, but you will need to have an understanding of the cybersecurity concepts and IT concepts. So under governance, we have the law and regulations bit. We have the procedures within the company and processes. So people who sit in governance are more like the oversight team. They make sure that policies, processes are followed, and then they are our liaison with the law and regulation authorities. Yeah. Then we have risk assessment. I know most people would be interested in this bit. This is largely the offensive side. So we have the penetration testing people. These are, in our team, we have close to 10 red team people. So they would carry out penetration testing, test our defenses. So normally if they manage to get into our network from outside, it doesn't look so good on the SOC, but it is a learning opportunity for us. Also in this bit, these are the people who would typically go through our new products and make sure it is secured. So before M-Pesa app is released to the public, the guys in the red team will try to hack it, see if I do this, what happens? Again, here you will need to be very analytical. You need to think critically, and you need to be someone who doesn't give up. Because sometimes you will try and exploit, it will fail. It does not mean it's not hackable. It means you just have to try a lot more. So I'll let you read all this in your own time. So we have frameworks and standards. So these are guidelines that would guide how you implement security in the organization. Us, we use ISO mostly, and we also follow some NIST guidelines and CSI. We follow a bunch of guidelines, so we've adapted them to fit our environment. We have security architecture, which is a very interesting field. So in our organization, we have 6 security architects. So before any product is developed, the architects will sit down with the product owners and give them input from a security perspective. So if we want to do M-Pesa app, so they will have input into where it will be deployed and the security controls that will be put in the application, and they will advise also. They also feed into the cybersecurity strategy by designing our security tools. So they will say we need to have an intrusion prevention system at this point. We need to have these firewalls here. We need to get this type of antivirus, this type of capability. We need this new system, this new security product, for example, an EDR. They will design the solution and roll it out for the entire organization. I don't know if I'm clear up to there, or did I lose you guys? Are we still together? Okay, so next I'll go into the skills and mindsets. So this largely borrows from what Eric said. It's very important to have good non-technical skills. Technical skills are important, yes, but also non-technical skills are very important. That's why I put it first before the technical skills. So like Eric said, communication is important. You need to be self-driven and curious. So most the cybersecurity landscape is changing. Every day there are new threats coming out. Every day there are new threat actors coming out. So you need to be the type of person who always wants to learn new things, who tries to see what's out there, always researching. You also need to be a team person and collaborating. You need to have good research skills, good Google skills, and most importantly, you need to be a critical thinker. It will help you in your day-to-day work. Most of the times, my work involves answering a lot of why. So A happened. Why? Because B failed. Why did B fail? Because there was a change and they forgot to reset it back. Why did they not do it? So you have to ask your way up to the root of the issue. And then it's important. Technical skills are really important because you can't protect what you don't understand. So this brings in the aspect of the T skills. So like the top part of the T is flattened horizontal. So these are the foundational skills that you need to have. You need to understand how computers work, how operating systems work. You need to have a good knowledge of networking. You need to understand a bit of programming. You should be able to do some scripting to automate your work and make your life easier. And you just need to have solid technical skills. And then for the vertical, for the T, now this is where your specialization skills come in, which Eric mentioned is very important, especially in the current tech landscape. You need to have you need to specialize in one skill. You cannot be a jack of all trades. And then finally, resources and where to begin. So like Eric said, you identify your strength first. So if you know your strength, you can then find where you will best fit. I find podcasts are an easy way to learn. There are 2 podcasts that I really like. One is called Malicious Life and Darknet Diaries. So they tell stories of how breaches happened. They will tell the story of how LinkedIn was hacked. So it's interesting to learn how big companies are hacked, even small ones, and it opens up your mind to the possibilities. I find YouTube to be a very good resource, especially when you go to watch DEFCON videos and videos from these big conferences. edX has a ton of free resources you can use for studying. Udemy also, you can find free resources. And then CTFs. So CTFs are capture the flag. So these are challenges you do online. So I like Pico CTF, Over the Wire, and Try Hack Me. So these are you start from a beginner level as you build your skills and you go up. And finally, you can set up your home lab, as simple as putting a bunch of virtual machines inside your laptop. So you can have a VM for Linux for you to learn Linux operating system. You can have a VM with Windows. You can even have a VM with the old Windows. So it's your environment to learn and just explore. If you break it, you delete it and spin up a fresh one. So that's it from me. Thank you, people.
Cybersecurity, and it was interesting to see that there is a very multidimensional aspect to cybersecurity. There is both defensive and offensive. So you do not just sit and wait to be attacked. You also find proactive ways of preventing those malicious attacks from external parties. I see we have a couple of questions coming in both from YouTube. I'm sure we'll be able to have those shared on our screen so that we can go through the questions, even from our first session with Mr. Eric Mutuku. Maybe I can just read a few comments as we have the questions shared on our screen. We have Nehemiah Maeri, they are following. Nicholas Emerikwa says, a very interesting session indeed, following. Masharia Watson says, keep it up, team, Corporate Career Academy. Samuel Mhambwa has a question. He says, hi, just a quick one. Why is it that people find the word cybersecurity or ethical hacking like it's all about getting people's information and manipulation of data? Maybe, Patricia, you can take us through that question. Why do people find cybersecurity so intimidating and maybe unethical to the layman?
I would say it's about the publicity and the information we want. Because if right now I ask someone to mention a hacker, they can very quickly mention a bunch of people. But if I ask someone to mention a security professional who does defensive security, it will be very difficult for someone to give a name. Like even locally, if you say hacker, someone will very quickly say Bright, Gameli, Evelyn Kilel, because they do a lot of red team and offensive. And I think it's because that's what seems to be interesting. That's what people find newsworthy, as opposed to saying defensive security. So every day I just watch the screen for attackers. It's not as interesting as someone saying I hacked into, company X, company Y.
Oh, great. The cybersecurity space sounds so interesting, but I'm sure, of course, when a hack happens, it is not so interesting for you guys. Nehemiah Mairi asks, why are employers concentrating on certification instead of skills, yet you can comfortably do whatever is asked without the certification, e.g. MCSA? And Eric, I like that you tackle this. Maybe you can tell us a bit more on the certification vis-a-vis the skills that is actually required to deliver on that specific job description. Eric?
Clear? Am I there?
Maybe you can have your video on, Eric. Eric and Patricia,
Yes.
if you have your videos on there, yeah, we'll appreciate. Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Fantastic. So I was just mentioning that most companies that you find asking for certification is because they want also to fail safe. And maybe, they don't go through a long process of testing you and testing your skill. They don't know if what they're asking you, if what you're doing is correct. And what I always advocate for is in every recruitment process, we have a technical person sit in the interview boardroom so that they can also be able to differentiate, a talent from someone who's just presenting papers. Personally, I am more of skill than papers. So I think it's just a tradition that will soon end, and it will end when we have a lot of technical people sit in the interview rooms. And we will realize a lot of now companies will be looking more at your skill than the papers. Again, you find just as an additional advantage, someone who maybe has done a certification as a structured thought process that, they have covered quite a lot in a structured way, as opposed to someone maybe who did some self-study and maybe left some things out. And nowadays, during recruitment, companies don't leave any room for errors. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for that, Eric.
Mhm.
We have another question from Innocent Mambo, and he asks, how do you deal with insiders sharing information of customers in the telecommunication space and companies, and later on people start to receive calls and end up losing money? Patricia, maybe you can handle this.
Okay, so from a technology point of view, there are a bunch of solutions like data leakage protection tools. So data leakage protection tools will tag data. So it's a tool that knows how a mobile phone number looks like. So anytime someone tries to send that out, it is flagged. And then it knows how credit card data looks like. So every time someone tries to share that out, it is flagged. Also from a people's point, so we try to do a lot of awareness and training and making sure that people understand the implication of sharing customer information, especially with the passing of the data privacy law, the new one, where the Communications Authority and the government is very strict on what you do with customer data, with people's data. Again, most of the times it's a matter of social engineering, where someone will call up our customer and gain information from them using deceit and just lies. So we also try to put out material out there to just train our customers, to tell our customers that a call from our company will come from the specific number. This is the detail that you should not share with anyone on phone. So it's an issue that is tackled using a mix of technology, a mix of processes, and awareness.
Sure. Thank you very much, Patricia. We have a couple of comments as well. Grace Karanja says both Mr. Eric and Madam Patricia, she says kindly share your contact information, both Mr. Eric and Madam Patricia, especially your LinkedIn profiles. Maybe we can have that shared as we move along. Kiprotich Bernard also saying kindly share your screens. Kevin Moturi says very well articulated. Ben Kagia says I love these people. Very insightful discussion, says Roslyn Kiloi. Now, Eric, you mentioned that one of the gaps that exist in the IT space and how it does not harmonize between academia and industry is that students do not specialize in one area. So you find that people are a jack of all trades. You know a bit of this, you know a bit of that, but you're not a master of any. It would be interesting to know where then do you strike the balance between specialization and diversification? Because in this COVID era, we see people are losing their jobs in their mainstream careers, and now they're having to go out of their way to take up new skills and just find means and ways of getting by. So how do we strike the balance between specialization and diversification?
My policy is always, whatever the circumstances, do not change who you are, and stick to your strengths, stick to who you are, because that I always give examples and say, if you look at most innovators right now and you look at their stories, these guys, whatever they innovated, from Google to Microsoft to Facebook, it was not an easy journey. And if you realize, if these people, for example, gave up on their path, then they will not employ as many people as they have employed now. It's very important for us to understand that our talent, our strength, that is our secret gold mine. That's what we are given to thrive through good times and tough times. So, and during tough times, it's what you're good at, what you've been doing, where your strength is, that what keeps you going. Now, in terms of diversification, I always recommend diversify in your area of strength. Let me give an example. I start as a software developer. Then over time, you realize maybe you're becoming, you're interested more in testing systems. So you can easily branch out either into testing systems, or you realize maybe I am more of I get excited by protection, and then I can branch out to cybersecurity. And I always say the best way for you to know where you belong and where your strength is your passion. Your passion always speaks to your talent. Whatever excites you, whatever you love, whatever turns you on, that is what your passion and talent is. And that is what grows you into the area of diversification. But we all have to agree that we have to have a starting point, because you'll not forever be a software developer, you'll not forever be a cybersecurity expert. You'll have other related areas that you can diversify to. So what I always recommend is, as you diversify in related areas that are related into your career path and in areas of your strength.
Thank you very much, Eric, for that. Diversify in your areas of strength,
Yes.
and that your passion speaks to your talent.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. I don't know how you would say the COVID-19 situation has affected the IT space and that whole scenario, so that we are not tone deaf. We are currently in the middle of a pandemic, and so this has changed a lot of how businesses work, how IT works. Patricia, maybe you could speak a bit on that.
So from where I sit, a lot of people were forced to work from home. Even in our organization, most people work from home. So this posed a new challenge, dilemma, and risk to cybersecurity, because when people are on the premise, when people are in the office, it's easier to see what they are doing. It's easy to enforce policies and rules and to just protect their endpoints. So with people working from home, it's much more difficult to follow policy and to ensure things, machines are protected. So for example, if someone does not connect into the network, the antivirus signatures becomes outdated. So that is a vector for attack. So someone can get in through that. So with that, from our end, we had to change a lot of our security controls to make them less based on the premise and less based on having a perimeter into decentralizing it, so that we know now we try to protect the individual machine wherever it is sitting through improved monitoring and improved tooling. Now that's from a security perspective. Eric, you might want to add something.
Yeah, for us, it brought an opportunity for online training. It's what we've always wanted to migrate to for the longest time, because we find online training being a bit flexible, and also it's easy for us to be able to reach out to as many students as possible. And again, for us, it came as an opportunity. It has opened a lot of opportunities for innovations around COVID. And we've always moved with the mentality of let's look at it differently. Let's not look at it as a challenge, but an opportunity that has been brought to us.
Sure. Thank you so much for that. And we welcome Madam Grace Leah to the session. Maybe you can say a few sentiments and as well give your parting shot. We are winding up actually. And even as you do that, maybe I can mention a few questions here that Mr. Eric and Madam Patricia can answer while they are giving their parting shot. So O'Brien Evans asks, Mr. Eric, in web development, front-end CSS is an issue to me, but I like back-end languages like JavaScript, PHP. Nowadays, do companies still go for back-end programmers or do they prefer full-stack developers? So Eric, maybe you can ponder on that. Sarah Oeri says, Madam Patricia, what did your interview entail when joining the Tech Academy in Safaricom for cyber security internship? And Paul Thuo finally asks, what is the market gap in tech job opportunities today? You can ponder on that as we welcome Mrs. Grace to share a few sentiments as she gives her parting shot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, team, for the hard work. Thank you, students, for your participation and cooperation. This is a national audience, and we are so grateful that the cybersecurity is getting an audience, both the defensive and offensive cybersecurity aspect. So mine is just to encourage you students to continue appreciating and continue joining such societies, both in your universities and even in the society, now that you guys are on holiday. Try to do something relevant with your life. Try to do something that will make you grow and add to your CV, just as Eric and Patricia had mentioned earlier. As we are here to support you, we are going to work with you throughout, and just keep the fire burning. Cybersecurity, we have to manage it, and you're going to become the best, some of the best people, experts in this, in the globe. All the best, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. So
Thank
maybe
you very much.
sorry. A team from Technical University. I know we have Dr. Rono, who is represented here. We have Dr. Salesio. We have Madam Jerry. We have Madam Sarah. We have Madam Elizabeth. It's a whole team, and we are going to continue doing monthly related talks every last day of the month. I expect another better one next month. So just be on the lookout, ladies and gentlemen. We are happy and we wish you well. Thank you.
Sawa sawa. Thank you so much, Madam Grace. Patricia?
Um, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you over lunch hour. So to answer the question on Tech Academy, to be honest, it was a very long time ago. It was in 2014, but the interview process has not changed. So you will start with an online assessment that will cover most of the areas in IT. So in tech, so Safaricom is a telco. So there will be a few questions on GSM. There will be a few questions on IT concepts, a bit on networking. There will be, I remember being asked questions on big data. I remember being asked questions on cloud. So it's the first interview is tech. The second interview was an oral interview, and in the panel there were two ladies from Women in Technology, someone from HR. So the main goal of Technology Academy is to bring students and just give them a taste of the corporate life. So even the interviewing process, we try to tailor it to make it as much as possible similar to our normal onboarding process. So there was the oral interview, which focused mostly on your non-technical skills, your problem-solving skills, your interpersonal skills, and a bit of tech questions. And then finally, I think I got to meet our HOD. So yeah, just general IT concepts, if I remember well. My last words, thank you, people. I have also learned a lot from Eric. I think he broke down the challenges in the industry, especially with getting the right talent. So please heed what he said. Start building your portfolio. From a security point of view, your portfolio can be to say, yes, I did Pico CTF up to this challenge. I did TryHackMe up to this challenge. That's a way of building your portfolio, and keep learning and learning and learning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Patricia. And I like that you mentioned during your interview, they also focused on soft skills. Because a lot of IT guys think, you're just behind the scenes, you're handling cables and hardware and software. So it is important for the students to note that even behind the scenes, you also need soft skills and people skills and interpersonal skills. Thank you very much for that, Patricia. Eric?
Yeah, to answer the question about full stack, yes, full stack is commonly required nowadays. So try your level best to just do what you can do on the front end. But when you get to the interview and you get a chance to be asked to demonstrate, put it out there and state plainly that you're really strong in backend, because at the end of the day, now when you get to a real working scenario, you'll be split in groups where you have the front end team and the backend team, and that's where you'll get in. You'll come in, but you always need a point of entry. And for you to have a point of entry, just focus, just build what you can build on the front end. And once you get the job, always state that you're good in backend, and you'll be put in the backend team. Well, I don't think I have a parting shot, because what I've said is what should have been my parting shot. And I always say, always work with your talent, work with your strengths, and your life will be very easy, and you'll enjoy living.
Asante sana, Mr. Eric Mutuku. As we wind up, Grace Karanja says, kindly let us know how to join She Hacks KE. Any requirements? So I guess that can be answered by Patricia to Mr. Livingstone, who will then share later on. My name is Gertrude Njeri. I have been your co-moderator for this brief session, and I have learned a lot in the cyberspace. Personally, I'm a professional in the hospitality industry. We are facing a blow at the moment, but today we have been focusing on IT and cybersecurity. And I am also the incoming vice chairperson of the Chuka University Alumni Association. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of engagements with Zalego and Mr. Eric Mutuku and other placement agencies. Thank you very much for your time, and I now hand over back the program to Mr. Livingstone Makori.
Yes, so mine is to thank all of you for attending this session and participating. To the students, thank you very much for coming to the session. To the professionals like Eric and Patricia, thank you for sparing your time. I know it's not very easy to have this time. We want to thank you again, and we'll be calling you, especially for the internships. I know students are looking forward to them. Mr. Eric will have a pen appended down elsewhere so that we can agree on modalities. So again, I wish to thank you, and ask those who are viewing to just subscribe to the channel. Get to watch this at your time of convenience. Should you have a question, just send it to us. The phone number we have just indicated. Follow through, and you'll be able to learn as we move on. We wish you all the best. May you have a good lunch. For those who are taking late lunch, may God bless you. Thank you.